Howdy, what's going on, y'all? Today is Thursday. It is back at Biceps Day, so it's going to be a grand old day. I think we're going to hit some shoulders with it today, too, potentially. We'll kind of see the time frame of everything else. But today, so I was a doofus yesterday on leg day, right? Not because I was training bad form or anything, but yesterday, so you guys know I've been dealing with a lot of lower back issues. And I thought fully yesterday that it was fully healed. I thought I was going to be okay to train it and everything like that. So I was just, okay, let me just do some RDLs. Because I haven't been able to do RDLs in like 3 weeks. So I've been just really discouraged and everything. So yesterday, I already did them one leg day before, I'm pretty sure. And I did 185. And it felt fine. Like, I was careful and everything. So I was like, okay, I can do 225 at least. I did 2 sets, and then I think I did a third set. Yeah, it was the third set. My last, couple reps on that second to last rep, it felt very weird. Like, I felt my lower back, like the part where it started hurting, have a sharp pain, but it didn't hurt, but I felt the sharp pain, but it didn't hurt. It was very weird. So I was like, dang, I hope I didn't just mess up my back. Didn't hurt the whole day, everything like that. It felt fine. I mean, when I was at work, I kind of felt it a little bit, but nothing crazy, nothing whatever not. So I just went on with my day, and then I woke up today, and it's back up to how it was feeling, but even worse. But so I'm feeling fine, still able to go to the gym. I just can't for 3 or 4 weeks it sucks. Because lower back was one of the movements, or not the movement, one of the muscle groups I was really enjoying working on. And also, it helps with your daily, day-to-day life. And if you get a sick-looking lower back, it's awesome. So, just can't do it right now, which is fine. So, I'll just go back to kind of how I was training, which I would never include any kind of lower back. No RDLs, no deadlifts. So, it's just going to kind of be how I used to train, which is fine. So, it is what it is. Can't do it for 3 to 4 weeks. Just train smart. This is one of the lessons I'm learning as a lifter and just as a guy in life. Just be smart, Yesterday I should have known, okay, instead of doing 225, let's just do 135 or 185 again for 5+ reps. And then if it hurts at all, stop immediately. And that's practically what I did, but I was on my 3 sets of 225. I should have known 3 sets of 225, trying to get right back into doing hinge movements is probably not the best idea. So, you live and you learn, and I'm just going to go in it. Today, just all chest supported. I'm only going to do chest supported things, or, obviously there's not chest supported lat pull downs, but no, any type of rowing, there's going to be no kind of where I use my core at all. And I got to be careful in core movements, so I got a couple in there I'm going to be doing today. But I can't do any, ab crunches or nothing like that. So it kind of sucks. But it's just, part of the lesson I have to learn of just being smart with how I train. So I'm not going to complain about it. Overall, though, same as usual, Bicep training, everything like that will be the same. There's not going to be anything that's going to really change a whole lot whenever I do this stuff. So if you get injured, you can always do other things to not contradict, but go around those injuries. Like Tom Platz trained with a torn bicep. If you can train with a torn bicep, I can train with a little bit of a lower back, disc kind of herniated, not herniated, but hurt or whatever. So that's how I see it. And as soon as I get my lower back better, I can go back to the hinge movements. But what I'm going to do from now on is for the first 2 weeks I'm able to get back into hinge movements, I'm only going to be doing 185 at most. So if you guys see me doing hinge movements, you're like, man, he really hasn't gone up a weight a lot at all. That's why. So don't judge my weight for a little bit. So, But like I said, I used to not even train hinge movements at all. I used to just train I used to train deadlifts a little bit, got injured on them all the time, which was this exact pain. So maybe it's just how my body works. Maybe I'm just not built for hinge movements and stuff, which really sucks, but that might just be the reality of it. So I'll have to do more research on it. But, Jefferson curls made my back feel good, so I might have to be a Jefferson curl type of guy rather than a RDL type of guy. So I don't know. it's really just figuring out what works with my body, because I know some, guys do certain movements for other movements, for, to hit other muscle groups that are usually or irregular compared to the norm. So, Jefferson curls might have to be my new RDL or deadlift or something. I don't know. But for today, it's going to be a sick-ass T-bar row. It's the Nick Walker. That's why I like to call it the Nick Walker one, where it's the D handles. It's the humbler, is what the gym community likes to call it. So we're going to have that in there. And then we're going to have a lat pull down of some sort. I think we're going to do the big machine one, also a really sick one. And then we're going to have this lat kind of row. Just every back machine at this gym specifically is sick. Like, there's not one back machine here that's not a good back machine. So I'm really excited. Biceps is going to be the same, hammer curls, and then some, overall just normal curls, whatnot. I'll figure it out. And then shoulders, like I said, it's a potential 50-50 kind of thing. I might do it tomorrow on chest day, might not. We'll see. But like I said, it's if we do shoulders today, it's gonna be rear delt flies of some sort, lateral raises, and then maybe tomorrow if I do shoulders today, I'll save front delts for tomorrow and just do like front raises tomorrow or something. So I know they say don't hit front delts at all. I don't think that's true. I think you should train every muscle group, right? Unless you have an overdeveloped muscle. Like, if your tricep is 10 times better than everything else for some reason, then yeah, slow down tricep training. But, it's very weird. You could be a type of guy who only has to train a muscle group once every 2 weeks, and you're gonna grow that muscle group way more, right? So, like, who's to say if you only train front delts once every 2 weeks or a week or whatever, once a week, who's gonna say that's not just gonna grow that more? And then, you might translate that to your actual training. The only reason why I haven't really done the 1 a week kind of thing is because I'm a little scared of, like, my body, like, not getting weaker, but at the same time, like, when you only have 1 day to perform every exercise to absolute failure, you can't have any room to fail. In a concept, right? Obviously, failure, you're failing, but it's like, are you truly going to failure every set? Well, if you only have one set on that one machine, you better go all out on failure, right? But with 2 sets, you have obviously 1 set to failure, and then you're like, okay, maybe that wasn't 100% to failure. Let me do it this set, right? Because you thought, I couldn't get it. I probably could have got 1 more, right? I'm not saying that I have no, like, worry about me not training to failure, because most of my sets, dang near every set, like, I'd say 98% of my sets are to failure. So, like I said, just do what you like to train with, or do what you like to train with. That didn't make sense. Train how you like to train. There we go. Train the most smart way for injuries, most muscle gained, and the most strength gained. So, if you're a guy who likes to train in the 50 reps, but you're like, I'm not getting much muscle gain from this, why? Well, it's probably because you're training 50 reps, man. You might need to go down on the rep scheme, So, like I said, just train smart. Track how you're actually gaining muscle. If that's on a notebook or an app, or mentally you remember it. I was doing the track everything on an app, but it just gets old, in my opinion. It looks cooler on like a notebook, but it's way more time consuming if you're doing it on a notebook, and you got to bring a pencil and a notebook everywhere with you. And I don't know about you guys, but I already have enough stuff when I go to the gym. Sometimes I'm carrying stuff like this, and it's very annoying. So, yeah, my ears are getting plugged up. I'm still a little sick, but nothing too bad. So, we're going to get in there now. Alright, so the first movement we got today is a T-bar row. And when you're executing this exercise, you're going to be hitting the mid, upper, and lats when you're doing this. So you're kind of hitting a little bit of everything when you do this. Also a little bit of rear delts, not to mention that. But Basically what we're going to be doing is retracting our shoulder blades, making sure our elbows are flared out when we do this. And the reasons I like to use 25s on this is because you'll kind of see in a second where I go to failure on this, and since, your lats like to take over because they're a lot stronger than your, traps are, at least for mine. You'll see I try to flare out my elbows, but it's a little bit harder with heavier weight, and then I'll turn it to kettlebell shrugs. But then I'll do a drop set, so that way you're not going from 45 to a 45 or something. You can go from, 85 pounds to 50 pounds. So it's just a lot easier in that aspect. But, you can use whatever weights you want to perform this exercise. But, like I said, if you're trying to hit your mid to upper back, make sure you're flaring your elbows out. So lighter weights is going to be a lot easier to execute that. Alright, so now we're going to be executing the lat pull down, and I like this machine. So if you have like a D-handle lat pull down machine, definitely use that, especially ones with the D-handles at the top where you can rotate them, because I like to go from this, like the kind of flared out grip, to the neutral grip. But make sure you're trying to get your elbows to your hips, so drive them straight down to your hips to the floor. Make sure when you get down there, squeeze for a second, and then go really slow on the way up and perform that deep stretch at the top. Now we're going to be performing the shrugs with the plates to work on our forearms, so our grip, a lot of it, and our upper traps. You can do these with dumbbells if you want to get more upper trap activation, but I also like to just work on my forearm and my grip strength with these. So instead of walking, I'm just going to do shrugs, but make sure you're shrugging straight up, and don't go kind of forward and roll your shoulders forward. Just keep them straight up and keep your posture up, and just go to failure with these. Alright, now instead of usually using dumbbells, I'm doing this on a cable, and we're just going to be using a rope attachment, just mainly curling up and going almost just across our body rather than straight forward and up. Make sure you're kind of not meeting your hands in the middle at first, because that makes it a lot easier. So when you're doing this, the last few reps, meet them in the middle, and that'll make it the most tension at the top. And make sure you're getting a deep stretch at the bottom, so almost go about 2 inches above your full extension. Alright, now we're going to be working on the biceps, and we're going to be working on the width of the bicep. Overall, you're just going to be hitting your biceps, so it's not too complicated, just like back, but make sure you're getting a deep squeeze at the top and a deep stretch at the bottom by, like I said again, an inch or two above where you're fully extended. And for preacher curls, certain machines are really good for stretches and squeeze, and they're very much to squeeze. So if you have to, kind of take your elbows off the platform to get a better squeeze, don't, be afraid to do that, but don't make sure you're not ego lifting. So pick a good weight for a good stretch and a good squeeze. And now we just got the regular old classic dumbbell curls. I like to rotate my arm when I'm doing these, just because mainly it just hits a little brachialis when you do it. So you're almost hitting like a forearm kind of hammer curl, but make sure you're going hammer curl mode on the way up, and then rotate it to a dumbbell curl on the way down and everything. But just make sure you pick a moderately heavy weight when you're doing this. Squeeze really hard at the top and get a good stretch at the bottom. Alright, now we're going to be forming a rear delt exercise. You're also going to be hitting your traps when you're doing this, but to hit the rear delts when you're doing this exercise, make sure you're not going too far up with your elbows. So don't flare out all the way up. Make sure you're going kind of a little down with your arms. So tilt your arms kind of like a 70-degree angle down. But make sure you're squeezing and holding it for a second out there. And then afterwards, when the exercise gets heavy, kind of turn it into a kind of row kind of movement afterwards. So that's the best way to put it. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be hitting lateral raises on the cables. You can also perform on dumbbells if you want to, but I just did it today on the cables just to do unilateral movement. But make sure you're training at a lighter weight for these, because these will actually surprise you. You'll go up one weight and you'll be like, whoa, that's a crazy difference. But I did 6 reps each side for each turn. So I do 6 reps, left side 6 reps, right side 6 reps, left side and 6 reps right side. So super simple. And make sure you're leading with your pinky, and don't just go up, but also make sure you're going out. All right, we're done. We just did 24-ish minutes of cardio. Burned about 170 calories on the treadmill because I do like 5.5 to like 8 incline, and about 2.4 to 5 speed. Not 2.5s, 2.5 speed. But, I don't want to go too crazy, but with the lower back thing, and I don't want to keep talking about it because that's not fun for you guys to hear. But if you guys are going through the same stuff I am, walking helps a lot. Like, walking is one of the best things you could do for recovery. Surprisingly, I didn't think that, and I didn't know that, but movement, most likely, more times than not, is the thing you need for injuries. Sometimes, things like certain movements, right? Like if certain positions hurt, and not like a stretch type of hurt, but more like a sharp pain or something, stay away from that, right? That's more, obvious. But if it's something like, that's like feeling good type of hurt, then it's probably actually really helping you. But overall, I'm happy with how the gym went. Got a decent pump in. I gotta find good lighting. Like, I gotta find a good, room and stuff to do, my poses down and stuff, because I just feel like nowhere ever I go is a good place to pose down, right? Planet Fitness and my other gym, Culture Gym, was great for posing, but obviously they don't like posing. I don't understand why. I understand partially, if you're recording in the locker room, nobody wants to be recorded naked, because for one, that's weird, and two, you don't want your naked body on somebody's camera roll, right? That's not fun. So I might miss this exit. I'm gonna miss it. I'll just go off this one. But 1 second. All right, back to what I was saying. But yeah, it's kind of rude to record in the locker room. I get it. So I just wish there was better posing rooms, because I know people on TikTok and YouTube and stuff, they get these whole posing rooms and they just look sick. Like, the lighting's great and everything, and this one was pretty good. I just got to get the camera more, I don't know, better on it or something. I'll figure it out. But yeah. Plans today, I think I'm gonna go out to eat with my dad. I don't know what we're doing exactly, but that'll be my rest today, and I got work, so. But overall, happy with how that went. Can't complain about anything. But I definitely do recommend doing T-bar rows if you are available to it. Especially if you have one of those, do some T-bar rows. That is one of the best back movements you could do. No doubt in my mind. So, other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow for chest day. Bye-bye.